This is a redacted version of the whistleblower complaint to the intelligence community that expressed serious concerns about the president and the White House. Let me read you one line.
I love the deep concern by John Berman and Allison Camerota there over a whistleblower last year, a whistleblower that had second or third hand knowledge of a phone call that they never actually heard. And especially I love that look on Allison Camerota there, you know, like, oh, this is so monumental. This is so monumental. Yeah, I wonder if Berman and Camerota have such deep concern today over who the whistleblower is at CNN. I guarantee you that they are, even though they're not reporting it, there's nothing on a website. You probably won't see any reports, except maybe sometime in the future to smear James O'Keefe on a Project Veritas, exposing their phone calls, their conference calls in which Jeff Zucker details out a narrative that the reporters should follow. I doubt you're going to see any real reporting on this, but I guarantee you every single person at CNN has the same thought on their mind. Who was it? Who was a whistleblower? See, here's the deal. In order for this to be legal, and I'm sure it is legal, somebody had to have been somebody that was on the phone call to make it legal for Project Veritas to show us this. In other words, I don't think it was some technician who never actually was in the phone calls. So I'm thinking, who was it? I'm really going through suspects in my mind. Now, it could be some behind-the-scenes producer that we don't even know who it is. That once in a while, you know, he's there and he puts in his 2 cents, but maybe not. So I'm thinking, who would it be? Now, it can't be somebody that's pro-Trump, because guess what? They really don't exist at CNN. I mean, that's pretty much a job requirement. You know, if you don't absolutely have TDS, you can't have a job at CNN. So I'm thinking maybe it has nothing to do with Trump, really. Because listen, who was the most famous whistleblower in history? Deep Throat. And so he gave us information of behind the scenes stuff going on, not because he wanted well, actually he did. He was revenge. It wasn't because he was liberal or anything like that. It was because he was denied promotion to FBI director. He was the deputy FBI director, and that was his motivation. So I'm thinking, maybe the motivation here isn't pro-Trump, secretly pro-Trump, because it basically doesn't exist. Maybe it's more of a hate Jeff Zucker motivation. It's just some reporter or somebody that's an anchor there just can't stand Jeff Zucker. You know, forget the politics, just can't stand it. So I'm thinking, about that, and I sort of narrowed it down to 3 possible suspects, maybe really 2. And the 3 names that come up for me, and I'll explain it, are Wolf Blitzer, Jake Tapper, and Van Jones. Now, with Wolf Blitzer and Jake Tapper, their antipathy towards Zucker is that maybe they're old. They've been around for years. I mean, I think Wolf Blitzer, God, he's been there for almost forever at CNN, and Jake Tapper, he's an experienced guy. He was a bigwig at ABC News. There was some thought that maybe he would be taking over as host of Meet the Press, whatever. And by the way, back then he showed a lot more independence as he does now. You know, I mean, it's like day and night. If you ever watched Jake Tapper from his ABC days, much more broadband, let's say, than he is now. He seems to be under restrictions. So maybe it could have been what set it off was maybe some private conversation that he had with Zucker, and he just blew his lid. Because I know, believe me, even from personal experience, I don't want to get into it. You know, I write for Newsbusters. just from personal experience, and also from what I've seen other accounts, Jake Tapper is very, very sensitive about his reporting. Now with Wolf Blitzer, I don't think he has that sensitivity. I think, you know what, I think I'm going to discount Wolf Blitzer. We're going to take him off our suspect list because I think Wolf Blitzer just wants a job. I don't think he's really, he probably might not like that Jeff Zucker is, micromanaging it with all this narrative of what reporters should do. But Jake Tapper would be the one to blow his lid on this. So he's one of my suspects, Jake Tapper. The other is Van Jones, who not exactly pro-Trump, but he has said some good things about Trump. About his justice reform, things like that. He's open-minded. The other thing about Van Jones, I believe it was also we saw this on another Project Veritas video. He wrote off the this whole Trump-Russia collusion hoax as a big nothing burger, and he was right. It was. Was he not right? Van Jones was right. It was a big nothing burger. So here's another one that's a potential whistleblower on this. A real whistleblower, not the fake ones that Berman and Camerota were so excited about. Oh God, second, third-hand information on a phone call that the person never even heard himself. So anyway, that's it. I could be completely wrong, but just just real quick, years ago, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, there was something about somebody wrote a anonymous story about a magazine story about Joan Rivers that she really went berserk over. I think it was Joan Rivers at her husband's funeral, something, I forgot. So they had this big thing, who is it? Contact the Herald-Examiner, and let's see. And I think they wanted to play this out for like a week or two. So I read that article. When I read it, I knew right away who it was, because to me, if you do a lot of writing, I do a lot of writing. Writing is it's almost like a fingerprint. It identifies the person. Now, I happen to know who it was because I read his other stuff. Well, I called up the Herald-Examiner. I got the guy there that was in charge of that stupid contest, or whatever it was. I don't know. And I said, hey, I know who it was the first day, right? So I says, it was Ben Stein. Yeah, he wrote the piece. It's no big deal. So he wrote a critical piece about Joan Rivers. And man, the guy on the other end, he was upset, I think they wanted this to extend for a long time. So anyway, here, a little detective work. Sometimes I do have some success in my background. I could be wrong on this, but my two suspects of the CNN whistleblower, it boils down to Jake Tapper or Van Jones. And like I say, I could be wrong, but if I had to stake my life on it, and I had two choices, I would go with those. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe we'll never know who the whistleblower is, or the whistleblower sometime in the future. Like we had to wait, about 30, 40 years to find out it was Mark Felt was Deep Throat. So we'll find out who the Deep Throat of CNN is. But in the meantime, keep watching those Project Veritas videos. It shows just how controlling Jeff Zucker is. Oh, and one final thing, just not important, but little. We actually, Jeff and I, we went to the same high school, North Miami High School, different years. I never met the guy. So at the North Miami, the Pioneers. Okay, see you guys later.